about our recipe today.
Yes, so we are making a traditional Persian frittata. It's going to be a bit different consistency, as you say. See, when I start mixing all the ingredients, I actually have all the ingredients portioned out. We did send out the recipe, I believe, step by step before the actual cooking class, but I do want to go over them. So we have the coriander, cilantro, leaves all finely chopped, dill, finely chopped, parsley, finely chopped, and the three of the herbs together are 4.5 cups. And then we have the leek and onion, 1 large leek, 1 large yellow onion. So really thoroughly washing the leek is so important because in between the actual leaves, the long leaves, you always see those soil pieces. So it's so important to really thoroughly wash them and then chop them.
And you cut them, right? You cut the stem off, yes. And then you really thoroughly wash each strand.
Exactly. So you cut it lengthwise and then you chop them and then you rinse them so quickly under the water, just easily. So just for the purpose of saving us time, as I mentioned in the recipe, so you want to saute your onion and leek ahead of time. So how many of you actually have that? Just raise your hand so I know that we're sort of on the same page. For those of you who I can see. So Valerie, anybody else? Are you guys all cooking together with me, or you're watching mostly? You're cooking? Okay. You're eating. So I would say that, okay, so I would say that we saute the onion and the leek, and you don't want to make it brown. It's just a very, I'm going to bring it closer, so it's just a shimmery golden color.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the reason why you don't want to make it brown is because we're actually going to cook it again another 12 minutes, so you don't want to overcook them and then burn them. So that's already sauteed just with 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Mm-hmm. And the reason why we use avocado oil is because it has a high smoking point, so it doesn't burn.
And olive oil would?
Olive oil would, yes.
Okay.
So that's why we recommend avocado oil for sauteing versus olive oil.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that. Must be her master's in nutrition, right? And business.
Thank you. So actually, I'm going to ask for your help, yes, so we can actually do this together. Let's mix these eggs together in this bowl. Actually, we start with the big bowl.
Okay, we have a big bowl here.
We have a big empty bowl.
Wash my hands, so I'm thoroughly.
Yes. So while Bella's washing her hands, the spices that I have here together, again, just for the purpose of time, I've already portioned everything out and added them together. So we have the turmeric. As you know, turmeric has so many incredible nutritional values. So turmeric is known for its anti-inflammatory properties, anti-cancer, so many nutritional benefits that researchers are just beginning to understand. Actually, it's recommended in Ayurvedic medicine to take it with black pepper because it increases the absorption of the turmeric. So this recipe does have black pepper. I'm just going to go through the recipe exactly to tell you how much. So 1 teaspoon of the black pepper, and then we have half a teaspoon of turmeric. I generally start with less. You can always experiment and then tweak it however you like it. It's really about your senses and getting inspired in the kitchen and trying new recipes. It's really always about allowing yourself to feel free to experiment. That's what I feel most excited about cooking or baking, to just get free and look at the structure of the recipe, but just have fun with it. It's like a playground. You just see, what can I do with this? So I would recommend you actually go to the market before you know what you want to cook, because let the ingredients inspire you. That's what I always say. So what else do we have in here? We have some salt, about, actually I kind of tweaked the salt. The recipe requested 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I put only 1 teaspoon. I generally like to have lower. I've even cooked with half a teaspoon, so it's up to you. And also, what else do we have? So we have turmeric and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So we have all of these ingredients already in here. So Belle, if you don't mind, yes,
Whisk?
either whisk or with a fork. If you just whisk the
5 whole eggs.
the 5 whole eggs. So you can actually come over where I'm standing so they can see you.
Perfect. This is
Great.
so fun to learn from you. And it does really remind me what you were just saying about expressing yourself, why the food and fashion would go so beautifully together. Because it really is about color and inspiration through expression, right?
Yes, yes. And actually, beauty from within. I truly believe in that, the concept of beauty from within. Not just beautiful thoughts or beautiful words, but the reason why I'm cooking in this high fiber recipe is because of the gut bacteria in our gut. They are the ones that actually require such high fiber diets, which we'll be talking about it more. But that's the reason behind it all. They are recommending such high fiber diet.
That's I would love to hear more about that.
Yes.
So would you say you whisk it like so that you see no white? I know with a scrambled egg, I've heard that the trick to make it really fluffy is having nothing white.
Sure,
But
yeah.
how much
yeah.
would you suggest?
So I would just say honestly just that we can add the ingredients. You really don't have to make it fluffy or white.
Okay.
Yeah, just gently whisking it together, and then we start slowly adding. So I'm just gonna start adding the herbs one at a time to this. So this is the parsley. Let me see. To the eggs.
It's already so fragrant and colorful. And healthy.
And healthy.
Gosh.
So the consistency of this recipe is going to be different than normal frittatas that you guys make. It's going to be probably less put together. You'll see how it's just very different. This is the dill. All here together.
Is there a shop you really like to go to for your herbs, or do you do the farmer's market?
I try mostly to shop farmer's market because again, I love the ingredients letting inspire me. I just go and it feels like I'm going on a field trip. I talk to the farmers and the fresh flowers or just the fragrance. You know, even talking to the farmers about, you know, the new recipes that I might have never tried. And they are the ones that grow, you know, the vegetables and everything, and they are the ones that can inspire us. So,
So beautiful.
here is the
Truly
next
fun
one.
to table.
Yes. If I ever am in a hurry, I do run to Trader Joe's.
As we all do, yes.
My cookbook, actually, believe it or not, is really heavily based on Trader Joe's ingredients.
Really?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
they need to sell your book there then, for sure.
Every time I go by the checkout line, every single person cashier said, "Why are you buying so many vegetables?" I said, "Because guess what? I'm writing a cookbook for you guys." I said, "Tell us more." So we have a 3-hour conversation at a cashier every time I go by.
I didn't know this. It's amazing.
I know it's fun.
This is the consistency, if you can see. It's very herb based. It looks less liquidy, like you don't think of it as a lot of egg, I would say.
Exactly.
Like as someone mixing it for the first
Trying to
time.
say. Thanks for the explanation. And so this is the egg and the leek, which is already sauteed. So we're gonna, if you actually,
I can help
yes. Actually, I can use a spoon as well.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Here, you go for it. You do the spinning. Yes.
Smells so good.
So 4 down, actually 5 down. We already have 5 down ingredients. Then next we're going to add, so the fenugreek. So all these spices, each one of them, the parsley, the cilantro, fenugreek, every one of them has nutritional benefits. Just to give you a general overview, how are we looking here?
It looks beautiful. But,
Here, actually, if you
and then
want to
you
use
switch
the
the spoon?
Sure. Just to give you an overview, what we were talking about, the gut bacteria. So every one human cell in the human body, there are 10 bacteria cells. So one human body, imagine it, one human body to 10 bacteria cells. So what does that really say about us? What are we made of? One human to 10 bacteria? We're mostly bacteria cells. If you think about
it's a lot to digest.
It's a lot to
digest.
It's a lot to. So we're gonna add the spices now that I said that.
Great.
This is like a comedy show.
I mean, I'm learning so much.
So
Want life to be a comedy show, right?
yes. So what, you know, actually, so about the bacteria, yeah, so 1 to 10, and it's recommended. Why are we recommending a high fiber diet? What is because all this time, Belle, the researchers thought that it was our brain, the central nervous system, that was telling our gut how to, you know, how to behave, how to feel. Actually, research shows it's actually the other way around.
This gut.
Did you know 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut? It's not in your brain. So all these feel-good hormones are actually made in your gut. They're not made in your brain. So that's why we have to feed the gut bacteria. Do you guys understand the relationship between, or do you want me to explain more in detail? We can, but let's get this cooking.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's get this cooking, but I'm fascinated to hear more, and also how your journey with the gut. I mean, I feel very personal to this because
Actually,
I've
it's
always
true.
had digestive
That's why
stuff.
I went to study nutrition.
Yeah, it's usually from
because
personal.
of that.
So
yes.
tell us what to do, and then we'd love to hear
Sure.
about your journey.
Sure. So this is the avocado oil. We're gonna take 3 tablespoons. The recipe requested 5 tablespoons total of the avocado oil. So here I have the 3, and I'm gonna add it to the pan.
Want me to do 3?
3, yes.
Okay.
Please. Yes.
Into a pan.
The skillet, which
High
is,
heat or
actually
medium?
let's heat the skillet first a
Okay.
little bit, and then we'll add. So this is a non-stick oven-proof skillet. We're gonna just let it heat a little bit.
Then add.
And then we'll
Okay.
add.
You think like a minute or so on the heat, or what would you suggest?
Sure, yes.
Okay.
Just so you put your hand above it and you feel the heat. Yeah.
Feeling it heating up in here. So 3 tablespoons once.
Yes, please.
Once you're there.
3 tablespoons of avocado oil. And this is, thank you, Bill, for doing such a great job and really thoroughly mixing this.
Thank you for teaching me how.
So you guys can see the consistency. I do want to show it so you can see it's pretty much that. It really doesn't stick together. It separates, and that's how we want it to be. So, okay, this is looking beautiful.
I think we're new partners in education. I'm learning so much.
I love it. So, okay, so this way, is it heated?
Yeah,
Perfect.
you feel the.
Perfect. So if you don't mind lowering the heat a little bit for me, please. Can everybody see? Yeah.
I'll move it over so you
Okay.
can.
So I'm going to just put this here as much as I can, emptying it. And then the next step is putting this bowl away. Now I'm going to, using this spatula, I'm going to actually flatten it. So this is an important step because you want to make sure it all cooks very evenly. So we want to kind of bring the edges, touch the edges this way, and we pat it down gently. And sometimes I even like to, my dad's a dentist and I used to volunteer in his office, so I used to make dentures. It's kind of unrelated, but he used to teach me this way.
It's all connected.
You wiggle it
Okay.
together.
Full circle.
It's full circle. So you wiggle it.
Literally.
The frittata. Full circle.
Literally a full circle here.
Literally full circle. And you just wiggle it and it sort of comes together, and you want all the bubbles to, you don't want any bubbles in here. So you gently pat it down, and I actually, after we unmute everyone, I do want to ask our vegan chef Barbara what she would use instead of the eggs that I used. I would wonder if she would use flaxseed, or we'll talk about after that, after we get to the question and answer section. So we are going to cover this beautiful baby for 10 minutes. I do want to have a timer so I don't overcook it. Let's just put a timer on for 10 minutes if you don't mind.
High-tech situation.
So we're going to have the timer on for 10 minutes, and that's going to be perfect.
All set for you.
Yes, thank you so much. So while that is cooking, I'm actually going to shift it.
Yes, please.
So while that is cooking, I do have another surprise side dish that I thought I would show you guys because it would be such a beautiful addition to this meal. You can actually eat this either on its own with pickles. In Persian culture, Iranian culture, we eat tons of vegetable pickles. So we also eat tons of yogurt. So I decided the best representation and the fastest way, I can't make pickles in front of you and eat it too, but I can make the yogurt. So
3 cucumbers
Belle,
here.
yes please, if you could bring all of the plates, I would appreciate that.
I would love to.
Thank you.
More Trader Joe's, I see.
Trader Joe's.
Okay. There it
Trader
is.
Joe's and more Traders. So we're gonna make a mint cucumber yogurt. So a lot of the times, I used to look for dried mint. And I used to have a cooking class at Impact Hub. And one of my students suggested, why don't you just use a tea bag? So I went to Trader Joe's and I got a tea bag and I made the same yogurt with a tea bag.
Genius.
So we can try. Yes, I love doing that.
So
So
smart.
we can actually do that now here, if you don't mind. I'm gonna put this here.
Perfect. And you want them sliced? Or
Yes.
tell us you which
So actually, let's move it here. I'm gonna shift this down so everybody can see.
Beautiful.
What you can do.
And if anyone has a question or needs you can feel free to unmute yourself.
Yes,
please.
at this point you can definitely unmute and ask questions. So the way we want to do, I just want to go through chopping vegetables in the kitchen correctly. If you do this, the chances of you doing anything with the fingers will be very, very low. Cutting your fingers will be low. So the best way is to hold on to the vegetable like this, in this shape, and then you want to curl the thumb away. So if you're looking away, for example, right now, like I'm doing it, you won't cut anything because the knife doesn't have anything to cut. It's sort of this, it's against your finger here. So you want to really be mindful of the cutting. So we want to just cut away the both ends. We sort of put that aside because it doesn't look so pretty. We want our stuff to look pretty. So we just, chop it like that. Just like a motion with the arm, the whole arm, just like that. And so you can just continue. And then after that, we can chop it even further, going just, smaller and smaller. So I'll let you take over.
Ooh, the pressure is on.
Nobody's watching, right?
No pressure.
Fingers. But you're such a perfect example of.
So just curl your thumb away. Yeah.
They're thumb away
Beautiful.
too.
But really have a good grip on the food. The most important thing is to have a good grip.
So you're staying connected to your food.
Stay connected
it's conscious.
with the food.
It's mindful. I see, it's
Yes.
very much you, Mandana, the way you cook. It
So
expresses you.
Yes, I really believe, even you've tried my cookies.
We have to talk about the cookies.
I do.
Yes, cookies.
I do believe in listening to your food. Most people wouldn't even think, why would you want to listen? When I took the cookies out of the oven, honestly, the first thing I do is I put it next to my ear.
Oh, what do
And
you hear?
I just listen. I love to hear, and I know when the cookies are done. It's because they tell me. Truman behind the camera. He's like, that's your trick.
Yes.
So I just listen.
Listen to the
cookies.
cookies.
The cookies tell me we're ready, and it's just that little sizzling. You'll know if you listen to your food. After a while, you will know that your food is telling you I'm ready. Don't overcook me and don't undercook me. So
That is a whole new level of listening to yourself,
Yes.
and your food, and your heart, but
Yes.
your food. This is really
yes.
so transformational to learn.
So I just emptied the mint tea bag, invention of one of my cooking students. I actually don't know her name. I would have given her the credit, into the bowl. And we're going to take some of this yogurt. So this is a Trader Joe's Greek yogurt. And do you shop at Trader Joe's, or where do you usually shop?
That's the only place I'm gonna go besides the market. Why Trader Joe's? Like, what's the?
It's just accessible. They do have an organic section, and believe, I mean, they do use actually ton of packaging. I do have a lot of friends who don't shop there because of the packaging, excessive packaging. But you know, when you need the ingredients that you can't get access to, they have good quality at good prices, I would say. So
Did they have the fenugreek, or they don't?
fenugreek is actually usually found in Indian markets and Mediterranean and you know places like that. Actually, the one that Truman kindly got for us, and he just put it all so beautifully. Thank you, Truman.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so it was this brand Sadaf, which is what I grew up actually eating.
Really?
Yes, it's the same.
Where
brand.
did you find it?
I got it at the European market
Yes,
in Goleta, right off of Hollister.
Yeah, that's where I would go for all my Persian
They
needs.
had a really good selection of spices.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
great to know that too.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit more about the two brains
Sure.
after you?
Yes.
Because I was
Yes,
reminded that
thank you for that.
you were saying that there are two, and the prebiotics
Yes,
were
thank you.
interesting, very
Yes, yes.
interesting to learn.
Thank you. So we talked about having the central nervous system, which is in our skull, the brain, we call it the primary brain. Then we have the secondary brain, which is in our gut. And when you're a fetus, they actually develop together. Then they separate. One of them goes to the skull and creates the brain. One of them goes in your gut, and it just signals back and forth to its sister or brother, the brain, the primary brain. So it's actually very interesting. We didn't really pay a lot of attention really in the past, I would say 20, 30 years in the medical field, that there's so much connection and signaling going back and forth between the two, what is really two brains. So the primary brain, as we said, makes 10% of the serotonin, the feel-good hormone. The 90% is actually made in the gut. So the gut is filled with all these what we call probiotics, which actually really is the beneficial bacteria.
Which people take a lot of probiotics for their gut,
Yes.
right?
So you actually, what you're doing when you go to a grocery store, you're actually buying the bacteria that become active in your gut, and those are really beneficial to help you build, digest the food that you eat, and they actually produce these what they call the products. I'm not going to go into the chemistry, but they produce these products that actually are important for the maintenance of your gut lining. And a lot of the diseases are prevented when you take care of the gut lining by eating the probiotics and the prebiotics. So what are the prebiotics?
Yes, what are prebiotics?
Prebiotics are actually this cucumber that you see, all the food that you saw we just prepared, all the herbs that we put together, those are the prebiotics. So prebiotics is actually fiber. In other words, prebiotic is what the probiotic or what the bacteria eats in order to thrive. So that's what it means. So the bacteria need the fiber to thrive. That's why, because most of the human body is made of bacteria, 91 to 10, right?
Yes.
So it's 1 to 10. That's why you need a lot of fiber in your diet. If you're not used to a high fiber diet, trust me, it's okay. Don't go all full on fiber.
Okay.
Your body cannot handle it. So you gotta go slow. You gotta be, easy on yourself and start slow. That's the most important thing.
So how much would you incorporate if you weren't really exposed to so much fiber? And how do you decide how much at a time?
So that's a great question. I would say that you start by eating.
There's our timer for.
Is it 10 minutes?
It's been 9.5 from when I talked.
I would say adding fiber slowly is the vegetables that you eat, probably steamed. I would begin eating steamed vegetable, not raw right away, because those who are not used to a high fiber will have a lot of digestive issues if they just jump on a high fiber.
Oh, and it will.
Yes, it will be hard for them on their digestive system.
What's a good veggie for high fiber?
She's listening.
I heard the sizzle.
She's
I
listening.
really did hear it. I've now. So do we? Oh,
Woo!
it's sizzling.
That's beautiful. Here, let
Trim in. Get in
That's
there.
beautiful.
Yes.
So
We also need to show
if you
them.
can please turn on, yes, I'll make it.
Okay.
If you can please turn on the broiler, I would appreciate that.
Yes, of course. Broiler.
So this is how call it cuckoo sabzi. It's actually looking really pretty. And you saw how easy it was to make. So we're turning the broiler on.
Which is also news to me. So I do convection, no broil, and then what would be the degree?
So let me actually put this back.
Thank you.
And we put it on what you're putting on is the oven. So it
Oh.
should say broil.
Convection broil.
Oh, okay.
And then do I do a degree or no?
It should just say broil. So the broil is up there basically.
Okay.
So what we want to do, it's essentially already have it made, right? So we're good.
Great.
That's why, because I didn't know.
No.
So we're gonna put it in the oven for the broiler, only for 2 minutes. Only for 2 minutes. So we're just gonna put another timer.
I got it.
Please,
You're so on it, Truman. Thank you, love.
Got
because
this.
just time
So
flies.
got this.
Okay, so we cut our cucumber.
And little Rose, is that what you were doing, or is that would you rather
Yeah.
have it a different? I just went with it.
You know, honestly, so Belle cut it in this shape. If it's usually easier to eat it, even cut smaller, like that much. So it's up to you, really. However you feel, you know,
So
it's
once you
palatable.
slice it there, then you slice it again.
Yeah, I would just keep the finger.
Oh, please, yes.
And just kind of slice through the whole thing. Exactly. Just go for it.
I'm going for it.
Go for it.
Go for it. And that's a perfect side dish with it, with the yogurt.
This is the
and
perfect side dish. You can actually serve this food hot or cold. So I made another variation ahead of time because it's the magic of what we call TV, right?
Yes.
This is the end product.
Magic of TV right here.
Magic of Zoom. So
Zoom in.
Mandana, you are magic.
Isn't she?
you're
Yes.
sweet, you're
Oh,
sweet.
the magical Mandana.
So the way this one is different, this one I added a bunch of walnuts. So I crushed the walnuts, about half a cup of walnuts. Just chop them just like what Belle is doing with the cucumbers. Just roughly chop the walnuts and then you just put it on top or you mix it in with the batter. So it just adds a beautiful crunch. I just love that. And also tons of omega-3s, which is again good for the primary brain and all these other things. So we're really feeding both brains here.
So beautiful. And I love walnuts myself, but you said it. I hope no one's allergic. Is there another nut that you would recommend?
Honestly, it's personal because some people might be allergic to all the tree nuts. So I would say it's personal. If you can do almonds would be beautiful, walnuts would be, hazelnuts would be great.
Hazelnuts, beautiful idea.
Yes.
And also the vegan option.
I was gonna say, what was the good egg substitute?
Pine nuts actually too.
It's
Pine
a
nuts.
2
And
minute.
Someone had maybe a suggestion to unmute around what they would substitute as a vegan.
Yeah, Barbara mentioned that she's vegan. What would you recommend, Barbara?
For replacing what? For doing a,
Replacing eggs.
yeah, I don't make frittatas anymore. I used to love frittatas, but I do a lot of cooking. My daughter is Yummy Mummy Kitchen. She has a couple of cookbooks and it's all vegan too.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm really used to it. Like last night, I did a stew that had carrots and potatoes and peas, and I did like a veggie stock and Cabernet Sauvignon reduction sauce in there, and I threw in some black beans for protein.
Again?
a bunch of fresh herbs.
Hello?
You didn't go.
Barbara,
So
that
I
sounds
just kind of play
divine.
around. The only time that I kind of miss having eggs is baking, although in the last week I did some vegan brownies that had chocolate ganache on top of walnuts, and it was fabulous, and also a blueberry coffee cake, and both of them used store-bought egg replacement stuff.
Wow.
And I thought maybe it'd be funky in baking, but they were actually both really good.
Beautiful. In the past, I've used mixture of water with what is it called? The
Flax.
flaxseed. Yes, flaxseed.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
it actually, the consistency is just like eggs. And I bake cookies with that instead of eggs.
Yes.
And nobody can tell actually. It's very
No,
interesting.
yeah, my daughter uses the flax eggs too. And the one I got that's a yellow box that's some sort of egg substitute. And I got one in the jar that's called Just Eggs. And those all worked really well.
I'll interject, so I didn't realize my video was off this whole time.
Oh,
but you
Emma?
can also use chickpea flour.
Okay, beautiful.
Chickpea flour, for this kind of size, you probably use about 2 cups of chickpea flour, and then a couple tablespoons of water and you get the same really delicious consistency.
Yeah, if you want to do it, more like a scrambled egg thing, of course you could get soft tofu and mush it up and add it to all those herbs and things you have.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. Thank you, ladies. All of you.
Welcome to Irene.
It
Did she
takes a
just join us?
Yeah, it does. Indeed. Irene just came in.
Yeah.
Hi, Irene.
Hi. So this is the side dish that we just kind of as a bonus decided to make for you. That would be beautiful with this dish is the yogurt, cucumber, and mint. Very simple to make. You can add per your liking the salt and pepper amount that you like. Instead of salt, you can add nutritional yeast.
Oh, nice.
So
And what kind of salt do you like to use?
I generally use the pink salt because it's higher in minerals. But again, whatever is available.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the frittata. Hopefully we'll figure out. The oven is working.
Did a broiler not work?
That's
We
okay.
have this one.
I've already made one pre-made.
Who knows with this broiler?
Yeah, it's all good. I'll just so that's the end product, and we are going to take it out of the oven. Just be very careful. Don't forget to hold it with
This is the pre.
And that is exactly, and that's what comes out of the oven. So you guys can now. I can hold the camera, and you